If my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see the Nice Guys on Business podcast. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, Nice Guy community. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back. We love you guys. We love you gals. My name is Strickland Bonner on this side of the mic. On the other side of the mic, Mr. Doug Sandler.
Thank you, Strickland. I love your sense of enthusiasm for the introductions. I mean, you've been you do a great job all the time. Sometimes you seem a little tired.
Yeah. Yeah, my 5.5 hours of sleep and, my working 27 jobs.
Yeah, totally. It's always amazing to me how you do it.
You know, as hard as it may feel, the number of hours that I work, you know what? Somebody always has it worse than me. And, it's a very interesting story today with Mr. Sam Morris, because the interview today really talks about how, Sam was in a tragic accident, had some really, really bad things happen, but he never got down to feel sorry for himself. He basically turned it around and said, screw this, I'm going to make more of my life anyway.
I never understand how someone takes something that is a tragedy in their life, and fortunately, God forbid, you or I have had the opportunity or the misfortune of having anything like that happen in our lives. I don't know how I would deal with it. I mean, Sam was involved in an auto accident, and he'll get into the story when we get into the interview. But his entire life changed, and he took the thing that put him down, and he turned it into his biggest strength. And we talk about, the inspiration and the strength that you need. And he gets into this whole program. He has a program called Zen Warrior Training, and it really involves the Zen. It involves the warrior, and obviously it involves training also. It's kind of stupid. I just said that.
But you kind of did, yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of the way I go, isn't it? Yeah, that makes sense. Zen, warrior, and training. He gets into the Zen. He talks about his mind. He talks about his body. He talks about the training and the inspiration and all the things that have happened in his life that has brought him right to where he is today. What's so amazing about his story is that when you're done listening to him, you can't feel sorry for this guy. You can't. He's actually more able-bodied than, or able-minded, or able-capable. I don't know what you want to say, but this guy is like a beast. And I would be honored to be able to be trained by a guy that has this much strength and passion about improvement.
No, it's a great story, which I'd love to get to, but we do need to read the promise statement first.
Yeah, we got to do that, don't we?
We don't got to do it, but I know we like to do it. We should do it because we need to let everybody know what we're focused on. Nice Guy community, we love you guys. You can go to niceshortcut.com to sign up for the Facebook community. You can go to Nice Guys on Business and see our brand new shiny landing page and all that good stuff. But you may not want to do any of that if you don't know what we're all about, which is what the promise statement is for.
And I appreciate you stalling while I found the promise statement.
Gee, how'd you know that's what I was doing?
It was under this entire pile of paper and tabs that were open on my screen.
And his 34 Apple products.
I ran out of ink in my printer, and
okay.
So I opened this thing up. Why in the world does it have two inkwells for black ink? Why doesn't it just have one bigger one? Why does it need two?
Two for black?
Yeah,
it's not like one for black and one for color ink?
No, it's got a big black cartridge, and then it's got a little black cartridge, and there's other colors that are in there too, but it's got two black cartridges, and it's the stupidest thing.
And I swear to, we've got a printer. It's an HP printer. And when we got it, they said, do you want to have like an auto print thing so you'll never run out of ink? And we're like, oh, hell yeah. Okay. And the way it works is the printer actually communicates with HP on a regular basis. So it knows when we're almost out of ink and sends us more automatically. How freaking cool is that?
Okay. I'll give you the cool factor for that, but I'm also going to give you, I'm paying more than retail factor for that as well.
Okay. So let me tell you what I'm paying. It is like $2.30 a month or something, right? Oh. So, and I get a certain number of prints every month, right? Like I think they said, how much do you print? And I said, I don't know, probably 50 sheets a month or whatever, right? And so they said, okay, this is what it's going to cost.
Is HP our sponsor?
Not today. I guess it sounds like it should be, right?
It should be. Yeah, you're about to
Okay,
sell.
I'm not going to go into details, but the bottom line is I am happy to pay $2.30 a month. So not only do I not have to go out to Office Depot to try and find another cartridge, but I don't even have to think about when it runs out. And for that amount of money, it's totally worth it.
I don't even get the $2.30 a month. That's like the best price ever. I just paid like $60. So I was, for
a whole bunch of cartridges.
I was going to dog you for having HP send you cartridges and probably reaming you up the yin yang for them. Really, it's just $2 and some odd cents. Is it possible you're making a mistake with that price?
I think that's the price. I will double check, but I know it's under $5 a month or so. It's not expensive. I'll double check and let you know.
I bet I put probably $300 or $400 of ink into my printer every year.
Wow, that's a lot. Now I don't print as much as you do either. Maybe I don't know.
I don't print that much.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, okay. So let me give you the promise statement. Here is the promise statement. Nice guy community, you're important to us. Without you, we have no show. We are open to your ideas, your advice, and your wisdom. Our goal is to provide the most entertaining podcast experience ever. I'm feeling like we are up to that. Do you feel like we're up to that challenge?
I really do feel like we're up to the challenge. Yes.
I love it. I cannot imagine having a more engaged community than we have. I mean, if everybody that listened to the podcast actually engaged, we couldn't handle, we'd have to hire a lot of people to help.
No, it's crazy. I know.
But I love the level of engagement that we had. And a few months ago, I was not real happy about it, but Dan Rice doing an excellent job with the Facebook community and Twitter and LinkedIn and of course Anna and the entire, wow, we've just like crazy.
Team. We created a team.
Reach us. The best way to reach me at Twitter at DJ Doug is my handle. That guy over there, Strickland, he is at Nice Guy on Biz with a Z. Please review the show on Overcast. That means click on the cover art right behind it. There's a recommend button. Do that on iTunes if you're there, which both of you, if you're listening, please just go ahead and give us a 5-star review. You don't even need to fill in any words. Just give us the 5-star review. That's the one that really is going to promote our show. Okay, that's the Nice Guys on Business promise statement. We'll put it in the show notes as well.
So, Mr. Sam Morris, before we get to that, we have got a sponsor today, Doug.
I saw you popping those mantra munchies. I know
on the 200th episode. Oh, they're so good.
Yeah, yep. Not only the 200th episode, but I believe, Strickland, do you have some in your car also?
I might.
Yeah, I sense it. I'm missing my bag of munchies, my mantra munchies. Where'd they go? You know where they are? They're probably in Strickland's car. So we'll get to the interview with Sam Morris right after a word or two from our sponsor, Mantra Munchies.
Hey, Doug, I'm here to talk about our sponsor today, Mantra Munchies. And I had to finish eating and put them down before I started this because they're so good.
You were like out of control on the 200th episode. You were just going after. I mean, you didn't even come up for air every once in a while. You know?
But, Doug, did you try them? They're so good. I was eating mostly the Goaty OG cookies, the Nice Guy Richer edition. And look, Doug, you know, I am not a foo-foo like vegan and vegetarian. I mean, you've done the Whole30 and all that stuff. So you've done really healthy stuff for your body. Me, healthy to me is I only eat 2 pieces of pizza instead of 3, right? But it's so good. It doesn't matter. I love the fact that I can eat really healthy with Mantra Munchies and it's still tasty.
Where were all of these Mantra Munchies snacks and goodie things when I was on my Whole30 program or any of the programs for that matter that I've had to go through?
I might actually do like a Whole30 program if I could eat this kind of stuff.
It's like you're eating cookie dough.
It is. They have the cookie dough creations, hempy fudge brownie flavor, chia chocolate coconut clusters, and I loved the Goaty OG cookies.
I don't even understand how one man could eat quite as many healthy things as you. They also have that stuff that you like sprinkle on. What is that one called? The Biomic Blends. Oh my gosh. Deliciously sweet and creamy, no sugar, organic coconut milk creamer. Oh, so good.
So, the next day after we did our 200th episode live, I actually made a shake. Sometimes I'll make shakes with, healthy stuff in it. And I put the sweet and creamy in and it was so good.
So they have this thing called Super Saucy also.
Oh, yeah?
Sassy seasoning for soups, salads, and sauces.
Saucy.
Classy, sassy, mild, and super sassy spicy. All you're doing is adding hot water for a deliciously creamy instant tomato soup. Packed with so many good things, Strickland. I am starving.
Gluten-free, dairy-free, organic, raw ingredients, many vegan offerings. It's not everything is vegan, but a lot of it is vegan. But what's amazing is as soon as I hear all those things, I hear gluten-free, dairy-free, organic, like raw ingredients, I think taste free too, right? Like there's no taste to it. And this is totally not that.
No, it's like it's as tasteless as the paper that the actual copy was written on, and it's not that way at all. It's so much better than paper. Wait, that's not really saying a lot. Oh, but you got the cookie dough thing, oh God, so good. So
kids like it better than Pop-Tarts.
They do?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Pop-Tarts.
They've done studies with thousands of children. No, they really haven't done studies.
Wait a minute. I don't think that's...
But I guarantee you my kids liked it better than Pop-Tarts. Well, they got the leftovers.
That is a winning testimonial. If you can get the triplets involved in anything that is health-related...
16-year-old girls? Yeah, you better believe it.
So I guess the important question is, how do I get a hold of any of these Mantra Munchies?
MantraMunchies.com. Or you can go to niceguysonbusiness.com and you can click the link there for Mantra Munchies.
Jeez. Or click the buy now button right at mantramunchies.com. I would just go right to them because then it's instant access to this amazing... I'm looking at like the creations they have on their website. So good. All right, let me get to this. Can I get to this?
It is snack food. Like you can do the cookie dough creations. It is great stuff to put into your smoothies. They also have hot mix stuff, which is like kind of like creamer. Basically, you don't put creamer in your coffee. Instead, you put this really healthy hot mix.
Good
sauces. It's so good.
Good stuff. Mantra Munchies. You get yours. I'll get mine. Bye now. We have a warrior on the podcast today. And as you all know, I'm working on my way down the alphabet. Somewhere around the word wimp, I really got stuck. So Sam Morris, he's a keynote speaker, an inspirational leader, and creator of Zen Warrior Training. I'm stoked to have Sam on the show. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast, Sam.
Thanks, Doug. It's great to be here.
I can't get out of the wimp way, but I'm an entrepreneur. So everybody tells me, well, being an entrepreneur, you can't be a wimp because you have to have some kahunas. Well, there we go. I don't even know the pronunciation of the word. Do you know, is it kahunas or do you know?
I think it's kahunas, right? Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I say. But Strick, I don't know if you listen to the show. It's okay if you don't, Sam. Nobody else does. But if you don't listen to the show, then you know that my vocabulary has a lot to be desired.
I think it's kahunas.
Kahunas. Okay, so I got it. Let's just call them balls. Let's just call them what they are. So before we get into the meat of this episode, I want to read something that you wrote. If you don't, can you like humor me a little bit for a moment here?
Oh, please.
Okay. So this is directly from Sam's blog, and this will kind of set up where we're heading with a lot of the conversation here. One fateful night in 1999, my sense of wholeness was gone in a split second. Just a moment before, I was having the time of my life. Take me from there.
Yeah. So 1999, in the summer of 99, I had just finished leading a bicycling trip across the U.S. for 9 teenagers. I was 24 years old, and about 1 week after my 24th birthday, I went out to celebrate a friend's birthday, and a friend of his was driving the car and had been drinking. And we went off a dirt road and hit a tree. And when the impact happened, my T12 vertebra exploded, and leaving me with a spinal cord injury. And I became paraplegic at that time. And so I've been paraplegic since then.
And how, obviously, that is a complete life changer. It's a complete attitude fucking enema. Unbelievable. It's like anything else that you can possibly imagine as a nightmare for your own kid or yourself to go through. And how do you even, start the recovery? And how do you even get your mind in the right spot to do that?
Well, first of all, attitude enema is one of my favorite phrases that I've ever heard. I love that. God, how did I get in the right headspace to go through that? Well, right off the bat, I had a good attitude about it. I was like, well, it is what it is. I'm just going to have to accept it and move on, and I'll try to heal the best I can. And I underwent a number of different trainings to work on redeveloping movement in my body, that type of thing. But deep down, it was really traumatic. And it was most traumatic in a kind of psychological and emotional way, where I felt very sort of marginalized in a way.
Yeah, totally.
To live with a disability, especially when you go from being a 24-year-old avid athlete, snowboarder, skier, biker, hiker, etc., going from that to not having any sensation or function from your navel down is pretty damn traumatic. And so there were years and years where I had to go through adapting to the trauma. And I spent over 2 years cumulatively lying flat on my back in hospital beds due to problems from my injury. And a lot of that time was just spent in this state of perpetual limbo.
Well, and you talk about, the physical comeback, and I would have to think that, well, certainly that is so critical and essential as well. But there's the mental comeback that has got to ride along the same way. Actually, the mental side of it, the psychological side, it probably has to precede, has to, come before everything else, because you have to be in the right frame of mind. The attitude enema has got to, completely reposition you to making you have that comeback. Is that, I can't.
No, you're spot on. You're absolutely spot on. You have to be able to have that kind of focus and that state of mind. And so, the physical healing follows the mental, follows the psychological and emotional. And I was trying to heal physically in order to try to kind of fix myself and no longer have to be going through what I was going through. What I ultimately realized was that accepting exactly where I was actually what I needed to do. And that actually became the birth of the work that I'm doing with Zen Warrior Training. Is I realized the power of accepting your situation for exactly as it is, with all of your limitations and everything, that there is actually deep power in doing so.
Well,
go ahead.
Help me with this for a second, because I think a lot of times people will use the fact that there has been an adversity in their life, or not use, but not as an excuse, but as a springboard. They will use that as the reason to move forward or from where they are. At 24, I know I was still picking my ass at 24. I had no idea what the hell I was going to do with my life. And it's such a critical point in your life that had to happen. What was the path that you were thinking that you were going to take? Again, I don't blame you for not knowing if that's the honest answer, because I didn't know. I still don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up, and I'm 52. So what was going to happen in your life? Do you have any idea?
At the time, my trajectory was to get into doing more outdoor leadership, environmental education, that type of thing. That's what I had studied in college. That was what my passions were. I always loved being in the outdoors and leading trips and so forth. And so that was kind of the trajectory that I was on at the time.
Help me finish kind of this sentence or this thought. A lot of people that have conditions, problems, circumstances that come up in their life, they have cancer, they get in a car accident, they have anxiety, they have a mental trauma, they have you kind of get the idea of where I'm going. They have this horrible thing that goes on in their life. Years later, they say, this is the best thing that could happen to me. It was my blessing. And I'm like, fuck that. Shit, I'd rather let me not have the lesson, let me walk.
Yeah, no, totally. And I've played with that. You can't help but imagine what circumstances might have been like had things been different. And one thing that I do know is that the impact that I'm able to have on the world through the way that I live and through what I do with Zen Warrior Training is actually pretty profound. And had I not gone through this, I would not have had the grist for the mill to create this business and to have this approach and outlook. Not to say if I could go back, I wouldn't just probably stay home that night instead of going out. Who knows? It's kind of one of the there's those two directions always. Oh, yeah. But I think that I so rarely look back at this point because I don't really have any regrets. I see the opportunities that have arisen out of this that are pretty extraordinary. And it's not to say that I don't still go through tons and tons of challenges related to my injury, because I do. Mm-hmm. It's not like I have just kind of become superhuman or something like that. I deal with all of these limitations, and at the same time, the limitations, have become a springboard in a lot of ways for a lot of what I feel I'm here to do. And my own physical paralysis for a lot of people ends up being like a metaphor for where they are psychologically or emotionally paralyzed in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I want to just spend just a brief second going back just again to 1999 for a second. And then I want to, I know that when we stop with this interview, you'll go back to the life that you live and I will go back to the life I live, and you are living this life and I was just the guy that interviewed you. So for me, it's a question. For you, it's the reality of where you are. And I just so maybe I can help my community understand the case in where some people experience this. At some point in this, since 1999, did anger ever arrive in your head? I'm angry with this guy that was driving this fucking car. Why the hell did I get in the car? Tell me, like, I can't even fathom being in your situation. So I just need a little help.
It was, I would describe it more as a shock, being sort of a feeling of dissociation. One of the first things I did was forgive the driver, because I realized I wasn't going to be able to live with that type of feeling towards any other human being.
Right.
And so I forgave him right off the bat, knowing that not doing so would create inner turmoil for me.
So mature at 24 to do that, or at any age to be able to do that. Some people hold on to that I would imagine for their entire, my dad died 20 years ago and I totally think he fucked up my entire life, but I can't let that, sometimes I get angry as a result of that. A different kind of anger, obviously.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, what I ultimately realized was that, if you can't forgive, the only person you're doing damage to is yourself.
You got it, man. Yeah, especially the program.
I didn't want to do any more damage to myself than I had already done. So I was aware that I needed to forgive him.
Oh, wait a minute! You have a dog. What's your dog? What's your dog's name?
His name's Munch. I've got two dogs, but Munch is the one barking right now.
That's okay.
He must have smelled a squirrel going by or something.
Perfect. Yeah, he heard me talking about something shitty, so he's like, "Let me go get that guy."
He's locked in the bedroom.
All right, let's move beyond that, because I think that we, I just, that was from a level of curiosity in my head, and sometimes that filter doesn't stop me from asking questions.
No, totally. And so to basically respond, I would say that there is sort of a dissociation that happened with me emotionally and psychologically, where I kind of accepted what was going on, and in a lot of ways, I had a lot of repressed emotion around it for a long, long time.
You write this blog, and is there a name for the specific blog, or do you just have it on your website?
I just have it on my website.
All right. So if you haven't had a chance, and you probably haven't had a chance yet, if you have not seen Sam's blog, just click on the show notes and there'll be a link directly to his website. You can click on the blog. Amazing stuff. I wish you would write more often, because as I'm reading the finished touch of each story, I'm like, I want to go and immediately see what the follow up to that is. And you need to be more consistent with that blog. So.
Oh, I know.
So you talk in one of your posts about the should police. So, we all have the should police in our life, or we all have the should, what do you want to call it? The should analysis, or however you go through life, shoulda, woulda, coulda disease.
Right.
Talk to me about that for a moment, and what you have done in order to help overcome that.
Right. Well, anytime you think you should be doing something is when you're actually not doing it. And so
that's true.
So, it kind of reminds me of that Yoda quote, do or do not do. There is no try. Mm-hmm. I think it's really easy for anyone to get in some mindset that something should be different, or they should do something differently, and then get in their head about it. And then kind of chew things over in their head about why their life is the way it is, and why it's not better, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's sort of an endless cycle. And those types of thoughts can be really addictive, because they actually keep us somewhat numbed to the actual circumstances that we're experiencing. There's always some kind of, it would be better if only, or I should do this to be able to da-da-da-da-da-da. And fact of the matter is, none of that is action. None of that's actually getting anything done. So the actual action in that situation is mulling something over there's actually activity, there's energy that's being required.
Yeah, but we all get stuck there, though. Exactly. No matter what it is that we want to do, whether it's I should, go out to lunch instead of, eating the potato chips that are in the pantry because that's the only thing I have. But we all get stuck in that. Well, how do you get beyond that?
Well, that's why I stay busy with Zen Warrior Training, is because the whole training is about getting beyond that. It's about getting into a state of full acknowledgement in every moment of what you are doing and getting the difference between what you are doing and some notion of what you think you should be doing that's actually just taking you up into your head. And so I help people to guide themselves back to what's actually true for them, including all of the stuff that they're thinking about, and really getting, hey, I can only be doing what I'm doing in this moment. And anytime I get caught in my head about what I should be doing or some idea, I'm actually draining energy. It's like draining energy from my own bank account. I'm draining energy from my own energetic reserves because I'm not fully acknowledging and appreciating myself for what I'm actually doing right now. And so I really help people to get back into that state of acknowledgement and ownership for their entire experience. And
Sam, do you think that it's a matter of having accountability? I'm not taking anything away from your talent of being a Zen warrior and being a coach and helping people beyond where they are, which is oftentimes stuck in the shoulda, woulda, coulda philosophy. Do you find that sometimes having somebody to hold you accountable is oftentimes all you need?
Well, absolutely. People need to be held 100% accountable for themselves. And we don't hold ourselves accountable to ourselves very well.
Not. Yeah, definitely.
And so it really helps to have a team where you have people who you trust and who are similarly growth oriented, mm-hmm. and who can tell the difference between your bullshit and what's real for you. And I certainly have that kind of team in my life, and I count on them to be able to help me to be able to see me more fully. And having that outside perspective is invaluable.
One of the posts that you wrote, it was called, or I don't know what the name of it is, but it's your the other half must die philosophy. That's what I say. Meaning your partner, or anybody else for that matter, you need them to complete you. Can you talk about that for a moment? Because I think that so many times it's like, oh, I needed that person in my life to complete me, or this is somebody that really, really makes or breaks the decisions or my career, or potentially, the idea that you are not responsible for you. That's completely bullshit to me. And you have to be able to do everything on your own if you can.
Yeah. Well, a lot of relationships end up creating this sort of entanglement where people are leaning on each other and they create these codependencies. And then they have these arguments over who's right and who's wrong. But that's just because there's all of this entanglement going on where they are relying on the other person to agree with them. And they feel like they are constantly trying to convince someone to be able to be more like them, basically. And that will never happen. And it certainly won't happen through argument. And it certainly won't happen through that kind of entangled mindset.
You mean the person that yells loudest is not always the winner? We try that in our house every once in a while. That just is not the way that it works.
Yeah. No, I think everyone does it. Everyone does it. And it's not a matter of whether you ever do this or not. It's just how quickly you pick yourself up and take responsibility for your part in any kind of issue. Because we're either reacting or we're responding in any given moment. And in order to create movement with a partner in life, you have to be able to respond and not react to them. And so, that's something my wife and I work on all the time. And it's very important to be able to distinguish oneself from the relationship, so you don't get caught up in thinking that this other half, this idea of some other half that's there to complete you, that's totally an illusion. And that's actually lazy thinking. You have to really be able to separate yourself and take full ownership for your life. And then, hey, cohabitate together and see what can happen. And lots of stuff can happen with a relationship that can't happen with someone single. There's certain pressures to evolve that occur, which are extraordinary. And so there's a huge amount of value in relationships. But when it gets all entangled and there's this kind of notion of my other half completing me, then the entanglement just creates all of that reactive energy between you.
And I've messed some major shit up in my life with having that attitude. It just went through. It sounds like it's like disposable. I was married and divorced, and you kind of learn from the things that you did improperly the first time. You want to hit the reset button. Sometimes it's just not possible. So you kind of get out of what you're involved in and get to the next situation. Man, I definitely messed some shit up in my life.
Oh sure. We all do until we can take complete ownership of our experience. And even then we still mess shit up. It's that, even if you can say, okay, I completely own my experience. I understand the need to be totally accountable and totally responsible for my actions and for even everything that I think. I'm responsible for all of that, and I'm still going to mess shit up because I'm still evolving and I'm still human.
You talk in one of your blog posts about age just being a number. Your welfare is what you make of it, and stop giving a fuck about what other people think. And I love the voice that you use, because it is I write the way that you write. Also, it's just a matter of conversation. I just happen to be having it down, and in writing.
Yeah.
Is that your attitude? Not your voice, but the attitude of I just don't care what other people think. Is that your attitude, or is that the attitude of everyone that's a winner?
Well, I think that's the attitude of everyone who's a winner. I think that in order to be a nice person, I have to not give a fuck what other people think.
It's true.
In fact, because I have to be so kind to myself to differentiate myself and my values from what the world thinks about me. I have to be so kind to acknowledge myself to that level that I can't help but then be nice with people, because I'm living from my own value. I'm living from my own state of being kind to myself. And so it's a natural, it's the golden rule coming about naturally, rather than trying to force it and trying to have people have some kind of impression of me. Instead, I'm just being that nice to myself. And so it just naturally flows outward as well.
Help me with this for a second, because I think that this is an area, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but it seems to be an area that my conversation wants to go. The people that don't know you, that just entered in your life and are just meeting you for the first time, tell me where you think they underestimate you.
Wow, where do they underestimate me? That's an interesting question. I frequently get judged for my limitations because it's just a natural response from people who haven't been in a wheelchair, haven't had my experience. So they see this guy who's in a chair and, they're like thinking they need to help me in and out of my car and open doors and stuff like that. I'm completely, totally independent. And I even go on pretty serious hikes in my wheelchair.
Wow.
And
you have those funky tires, like the big beefy tires?
Yeah, big knobby tires. Yeah. So they don't really have much of a sense for what's actually possible. I'll be kind of bumping down a steep hill or stairs or whatever, doing a wheelie in my chair and just fine. And it kind of blows people's minds a little bit when they see it. But it's, years and years of adapting to life this way has created fewer and fewer and fewer limitations.
You got to have fucking biceps like a steel.
Yeah.
Triceps too? I mean, what's the...
Yeah, biceps and triceps. Yeah.
Forearms have got to be big.
Yeah, and then the shoulder muscles as well. They get a lot of work. Yep.
There's probably guys that still hate you.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck that guy. He's in a wheelchair, but God damn it, I hate him.
I hope so.
I mean, I'm just looking at your picture. Dude, you're a good looking guy.
Thanks, man.
I mean, no, I've
got a hot wife too.
Yeah, I do too. I couldn't convince her.
I'm sure there's some people who hate me because of that.
Yeah. So tell the nice guy community, all right, we call them our Funkin' fans, just so you know,
Awesome.
what they can do starting right now if they wanted to change their life for the better, even before they stopped listening to this episode. What kind of mindset or what type of action can they really put their mind to in order to just get beyond and take action right now?
Well, it's great that you're bringing it into right now, because that is exactly what Zen Warrior Training is all about, is right now. So just really focus your attention inside your body as you're listening to this podcast right now. Focus your attention on feeling yourself firmly planted on the ground and feeling your breath move in and out of your body, and just acknowledge yourself right now.
It seems like that's just so easy to do. In meditation, it's the same way. And I sit twice a day, in morning and in evening, right after I get up and right before I go to bed. And it's the most simple exercise of just following your breath. And whenever you get off track, just bringing it back and just feeling grounded. And it has created this amazing amount of focus in my life that I've never had.
Yes, it's extraordinary. The people who don't have time for meditation have no idea what the value of meditation actually is.
So true.
With meditation, you can tell the difference between when you're caught in your thoughts and when you're actually living your life. And they're two different experiences. And, so much of the time, especially with a lot of busy people, they're so caught in their thoughts about what the next thing is, or what the last thing is, or what that person just said to me, or what's coming up in an hour, or whatever, that they're just wasting energy. They're wasting time because they're actually too caught in their thoughts to be able to take a really appropriate action to be able to get something done. And so meditation is one of the most valuable uses of your time that exists.
Two things we all have. We have mind and body. We have that. Both of us, all of us, everybody listening to this has mind and body. What holds most of us back from getting the maximum productivity and output from both of those things, Sam?
Having the two disconnected, having the mind and the body disconnected. And what I mean by that is the body is its own intelligent system. And a lot of people get caught in this mindset where they think that their thoughts and their experience and their ideas of who they are and who they want to become are who they actually are. And that's actually not the case. That's not your intelligence. Your intelligence is a full system intelligence that is happening on many different levels. And your body is communicating to you constantly. It's constantly communicating to you feelings that are relevant to the present moment. If you're too in your head, then you're going to be misinterpreting those feelings and creating stories and ideas about them that will hold you back.
Your information is great. Your blog is great. Your theories and your philosophy are amazing. If there's somebody out there in our community that this is striking a chord upon, how can they get in touch with you to get more information about your stuff, Sam?
Yeah, they can go to zenwarriortraining.com and sign up for my newsletter, and I will keep them posted about retreats, workshops, keynotes, etc.
Awesome. And we will make sure that we get all of Sam's information right there in the show notes. Before I let you go, do you have time for just another quick personal question or two?
Oh, absolutely.
Great. This will be a whole different, this is not at all wheelchair related, I promise. It's not going back to any personal stuff other than just the personal stuff that I tend to throw in every interview.
Yeah, it's all good.
Do you have an iPhone, or do you have something inferior?
I have an iPhone 6 Plus.
The biggie. Anywhere near you?
Yes, it's right next to me, actually.
Excellent. All right. So pick up your phone for a second.
Yep.
What was the last photo that you took?
Let me see. I think it was...
Let
me see. The last photo that I took...
Knowing you, Sam, you're probably getting a whole bunch of kinky shit with your wife.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the last photo I took it's actually pretty lame. I was lying on the floor and I took a photo of my chandelier to see what would happen if I messed with certain effects on it.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's the last photo I took is a chandelier from underneath photo.
Okay, that's cool. The chandelier from underneath, that's good.
Yep.
How about text message sent and received? Last one sent, last one received.
Last one sent was, let me see, it's not showing the time right here. I think it's about 11:55.
Not time. Sorry. What are the actual words? Sorry, Sam. We're not going to let you off the hook with just the
last text sent was a photo from my wife
of your chandelier. Wait a minute, your wife? Okay, I'm ready. We're ready.
It's a photo from my wife of a path, a beautiful path in Topanga Canyon, and she is out there. Or she was out there having a little walk on a path, and it looks so starkly different from LA, even though it's so close to LA.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful shot. And then my response was, "Oh wow."
You're a man of few words.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, Sam, thank you so much for sharing your life's journey, and we're looking forward to getting a whole bunch more great information. Hopefully, sending some people out to LA to take some Zen Warrior training. If you guys need the Zen Wimp training, you just call me. If you need Zen Warrior training, though, you want to talk to Sam. He is the guy, the man, the myth, the legend with that stuff. Thanks for participating in our show, Sam.
Thanks so much, Doug. It was a pleasure being on.
My pleasure. Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Special thanks to our guest, Sam Morris, for being on the show today. Information will be in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
Interviews every Tuesday and Friday. Fill up your week with the nice guys. Check out the Big Brain on Doug.